So we've gathered here this morning to celebrate by partaking in the bread of life. But in order to partake in it as it's been designed for us, we must not forget that we are guests in the Lord's house this morning. And because of this, as your pastor, I've just got to remind you of a couple table manners this morning. So what are the essential table manners for partaking in the bread of life? First, in order to partake in the bread of life, you got to make sure you've come with a full appetite and ready to eat. There's no worse disrespect than inviting someone to your home to eat, them accepting the invitation, and then when they get there, they say, I'm not hungry. Brothers and sisters, the Lord has extended the invitation to partake in Him. And we show up in here in numbers on Sunday morning. Got Bibles in our cars and in our homes. Show up for Bible study on Wednesdays and participate in ministry events throughout the week. But it seems that every time many of us are truly encountered with the Lord's presence, we act like we're not hungry. In fact, many of us outright say, I ain't hungry. In other words, we've got ample opportunity to commit to Him and learn of Him, and we choose not to. We choose to act like we've accepted the invite, but when we show up and are encountered with Him, we won't accept Him fully. I began to ponder as I prepared to preach to you this morning, why do people show up to places where they're supposed to be eating and then refuse to eat? Why would anybody show up to the sanctuary to partake in the bread of life and then not accept the Lord's word? And the more I thought, the more it came to me that people don't refuse food when they are hungry, but they will refuse when they are full. The problem is that many of us can't accept the bread of life, Jesus Christ, because we are too full with the foolishness of this life. We are full of our egos. We say we don't need anybody or anything. We are full of our possessions because we got all we ever want and we just trying to get a little bit more. We are full of excuses. I just don't have the time. And even if I did, I wouldn't know how. We are full of the wrong priorities. I must do this and this and this and this. And rarely do any of those things we commit to have to do with the Lord at all. The Lord says this morning that despite the fact that you feel full, you aren't full at all. But instead, you have just fooled yourself. Proverbs 1:7 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 28:26 says, whoever trusts in his own mind is a fool, but he who walks in wisdom will be delivered. Psalm 14:1 says, the fool says in their heart, there is no God. And just so we're clear this morning, every time we refuse God and go against His will for our lives, we're declaring that we don't believe in who He is and what He does. We might think we're full and we might feel like we're full and we don't need Him, but we must realize that if that's the thinking, we will soon feel empty, because of relying on the things as opposed to God will lead us into despair. You know, when I was growing up, we would always eat oatmeal and grapes like that in the wintertime. Because the old folks said that in the winter, you needed something that would hold you a little bit longer. Give you some warmth and some comfort on a cold day. When the winds of life begin to blow and your circumstances begin to shake you, you'll need something that will ground you and hold you down. And the only thing that can really do that is the bread of life to sustain you and nourish you in your situation. Oh, that we would long for God's sustenance and live with the mindset that the psalmist had when he said, my soul is crushed with longing after your ordinances at all times. Whom have I in heaven but you? And besides you, I desire nothing on earth. My soul languishes for your salvation. I wait for your word. Oh God, you are my God. I shall seek you earnestly. My soul is thirsty for you. My flesh yearns for you. In a dry and weary land where there is no water. Listen, Charles Spurgeon, noted theologian, said these thoughts, which were compiled in a publication entitled The Quotable Spurgeon in 1990. And he said, it is said that some years ago, a ship was sailing on the northern coast of South America, and it was observed to be making signals of distress. When another ship came up, they reported themselves as dying for water. The ship that came up said, well, just dip some out then. You are in the mouth of the Amazon River. There was fresh water, good enough for them to drink all around them. And they had nothing to do but to dip a little bit up. And they were still dying of thirst because they thought they were surrounded by seawater. You see, the truth is that those things we have filled ourselves up on have done nothing but put us in a position to be more and more thirsty, more and more hungry, and to seek something that will sustain us. The problem is, though, that we have access to what will satisfy us right in our face. But we, like those in the story, don't even realize it. We've been invited to partake in the Lord's bread this morning. But in order to do so, we got to come with an appetite in the first place.